Anthony Hartwig here with another Springfield girls basketball player profile. I am joined by sophomore Mariana Toscano. Mariana, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, year two, and all you are back-to-back district champions. I mean, how's that feel to not lose a district yet in your high school career?
Um, winning is always such a good feeling, especially when it's back to back, and it just feels great winning it with the girls that I enjoy playing with.
Let's fast forward to, I mean, not fast forward, but rewind back to the start of last season. Did you imagine that you'd have your first 2 years as district champions? Was that in your mindset?
I mean, our goal was always to go as far as we can and just play until we lose. Honestly, I honestly had hope that we would win last year, and I had high hopes that we would win this year, and we did.
All right, so let's go back into the summer going into this year and getting ready in the preseason. Obviously, last year you won a district, you didn't win the league. This year, hungry to get back to regionals, you got that one down, and you've also won the MVAC, undefeated in the conference this year. What was that like to go through this MVAC? A lot of the teams returned almost everybody from last year, but this time around, you kind of ran the MVAC. What was that like going through that?
It was a really good feeling, as I said before. It was one of our goals to win league this year and again to win districts. It was just a really good feeling.
How have you grown since freshman season? Now in your second year, how much have you grown from year one to year two?
Last year I was just a nervous freshman, as freshmen would usually be. Um, I think my game has gotten much better. My shot has gotten much better. Just and all around, I think I have grown tremendously.
Who are some of the people that have helped you the most in that growth and gotten you to where you are now?
I would say my parents, my stepdad Hank has always been one of the ones that pushed me to be my greatest. He put me into basketball when I was young, and look where it's got.
Look where it has gotten you. Let's talk about that. Starting basketball young. What were some of the young memories of it, and when did you start to fall in love with the sport?
Um, I played at the YMCA with most of the girls that I am on the team with now. Um, I can just remember playing back in the YMCA and just loving the sport ever since I was a little kid. I think I started really liking it eighth grade going into freshman year when I played AAU with Coach Miller.
And you talked about how you've played with these girls that are on your team for so long. What's that been like growing up with them and playing with them in the gym and now getting to this point with them as well on your team?
I think it really helps when you've been playing with someone for so long because it's your guys' game. Like it's not just one person all the way around on the team. It's like I've been playing with Jamaica ever since I was little, Kerrigan Mullen, just everyone on the team. I think it's really helped us get to where we're at right now.
When we watch Springfield play and we watch you play specifically, we learn real quick that you play the best when you're loose. You're out there, you're having fun, you're smiley, you're bubbly. What gives you that mentality during a game and you don't let the situation ever get too serious and you're always kind of a loose basketball player?
Coaches always say just play your game, have fun, and like you're always going to want to win, but even if you're not going to, just enjoy it while you're out there because you only get this opportunity once.
Have you ever struggled staying loose, or is that something that you've always been? Have you always been a loose basketball player?
Honestly, it's going to depend on the game. If I'm not having such like a good offensive day, I try to make it a defensive day for myself. Um, but I mean, the past couple games, I think I've really been able to put my positivity out onto the court, and it clearly goes around with the other girls on the court.
I've talked to a couple of your teammates already, and when I ask about the personality of this locker room, they say it's controlled silliness, pretty much. Like you guys can really have fun. You know when to be serious. You know when to take it seriously, but you definitely are a loose group. How do you kind of what do you like about that and being able to have fun with these teammates and the players on this roster?
Whenever you come into a sport, you're gonna think that like it's always gonna be serious. Like you just have to have your beast mode faced on, and just being able to have fun and laugh around with the girls and know whenever it's the time to get serious in the game. It's just really enjoyable.
I love that you call it the beast mode face. Who on your team has the best beast mode face?
Before every game, my mom always looks at Madison Lesnack and says, "Put that Maddie B face on."
Oh man! And speaking of Maddie, we get a lot of her pictures. Well, from her mom. She's the team photographer. What's that like to be able to go somewhere after every game and kind of relive the memories with pictures?
Honestly, last year we had John Pete Thompson, but this year he hasn't been coming to many games, which is not his fault. But having Maddie there, Maddie's mom there, it's really nice because then after the game, if you want to, you can just go onto Facebook or Instagram and you can look at the pictures.
You seem to have a knack to finding the camera. I mean, would you describe yourself as pretty photogenic?
Oh no, no, not at all. Actually,
No,
no.
you're just looking for it. It's just finding you. That's all.
It just
Um, when you think about being in that game mentality, Maddie puts on her beast mode face. What gets you locked in for a game?
honestly, I don't really know. I think it's just warm ups. I start taking like getting into like the zone, I would call it. I just try to focus, and that's pretty much it.
Is it music? Do you like the silence? What kind of things get you all hyped up?
Definitely the music, the energy that the girls bring.
What is one song, maybe on your personal playlist, maybe on the team playlist, that no matter like what your mood is going into the gym, that will instantly like wake you up and get you hyped up for a game?
Definitely one of the songs would probably be Disturbia.
The Rihanna song?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I just wanted to make sure it wasn't some off the wall one that I didn't know about. When you think about, where this team is going into regionals for a second time, obviously you were there last year as a freshman. How much are you leaning on the experience of last year to kind of calm the nerves going into it this year?
It's always going to be nerve wracking going into this time of year, but last year I think we just have to focus on winning. Don't even think about the past at this point. We know we've been there, but it's always going to be a different game.
What have these last couple practices been like for you guys? You've won a district championship. You're preparing for regionals now. The teams get a little bit more unfamiliar. You know who you are at this point, so there's not a lot of fine tuning it anymore. What are practices like? What's the urgency, especially from the seniors, like in these last couple practices?
Our last couple practices, we've been trying to keep it more serious. Of course, we're gonna have some of the laughs that we usually have. You cannot go practice without laughing at our practice. We're really just trying to keep it serious. All of the seniors, we're all striving to go farther than we did last year.
I know with how much this team laughs, this is going to be a tough question, hard to narrow it down, but give us one kind of funny in practice memory that you have this season of something that sometimes someone did something really silly or sometimes sometime that someone did something that really made you laugh.
Honestly, I think I made myself laugh a lot this year. We'll be like running through out of bounds plays, and sometimes I'll forget the side that I have to go on. And the one time we were running out of bounds play, and I was like, "Oh, I have to go opposite side," and then I was standing in the spot, and I felt so confident. Comes to be that I'm on the same side as the ball take coming, so I have to run to the opposite side, and it just made everyone laugh because I can be stupid at times.
We've talked about, how your coaching staff tells you guys to just go out there and have fun and enjoy the process. This is Coach Matizzi's second year as the head coach with the girls program. You've had him for your entire career, both years. What do you think he brings to the table that makes this program so successful?
His effort and his job is pretty great. He always comes to practice prepared. He has a list. Whenever we have a game coming up, he has the film, he has the matchups, and he prepares us a lot for every single game.
Does that make it easier for you guys to put time in it when you see your coach putting just as much as you are?
Yes, it does.
What's that do for your confidence in him? Obviously, trust is a big thing with your coach. You have to trust your coach, and we know that that's not always, just given. You have to earn that trust. So, that being said, seeing the coach Matizzi is always giving his time to you guys. What's that do for your confidence in him as a coach?
He's really never given us a reason not to trust him. He's always been prepared. I just out of all my coaches, I think he is the one that I would always love to play with and trust.
We only get to see him on the sidelines. You get to see him in practice outside of the gym all the time. Um, what's one thing about Coach Matizzi that we might not know that you think people should know?
On the sidelines of games, he seems very serious, but at points during practice and sometimes during games and halftime, he can have some fun even if he's in like the mode where like he wants to win, and he just has a personality.
I want to ask you about this district semifinal because in the fourth quarter, things were looking a little bit bleak. You guys had a 9-point deficit, but your seniors seemed like they just hit a switch where it said, like, we're not losing this way. This is not how our career is going to end. What was it like from your perspective, one of the younger players on the team, to see the senior leaders turn it on like that and to, just will the team back into that game and will the team to victory?
Um, Honestly, I wasn't trying to lose either. I knew, but every game now is this like the last time you're gonna play with this team, like this exact team. So the seniors, Maddie Lesnack, JC Mullen, all of them, they came out to play. They knew that they had to come out and they had to give us the lead that we had.
When you see them, your senior leaders this year, and the way they conduct themselves, what kind of legacy do you think that's going to leave on the program, and how much do you think you're going to take away from the leaders that you've had this year to be a leader in your future the next couple of years?
They're gonna leave a big legacy coming or leaving. Us soft, us now sophomores going to be juniors, and Ava Vecchione are going to be our senior next year. We know that we have to step it up and maybe one up them.
Let's talk about your schooling as well. You're a student athlete. Student always comes first in that phrase for a reason. I hear sophomore year is always the hardest. How has the school life been this year at Springfield so far?
It's going. Haven't really failed any classes, so that's good. I'm gonna say overall 9 out of 10 so far.
9 out of 10. That's a good one. What's been the favorite subject or the one that you have to work the least at?
I'm really good at math, but I'm gonna have to say my favorite subject is gonna be biology.
What about the opposite? The subject that gives you the most trouble that you have to work the hardest at to get those grades up?
Oh, history, 100%. I'm
History.
not good at that whatsoever.
All right. So, what are some study habits? What are your go-to study practices to help in history to try to make that grade as good as possible?
He gives us study guides and I just rewrite them and just look over them for probably 2 hours every time I try to study.
What do you think is the hardest part about history? Is it the memorization? Is it the understanding how why things happen? What gives you the most trouble?
I'm going to say it's the memorization.
All right. So when you're thinking about that, and now obviously you have to remember other stuff too. What's your favorite kind of way to remember stuff?
Hmm. Honestly, I just have to keep looking over it over and over again to actually memorize it.
All right. So let's get back on the floor. You're going into your junior year next year. You will be one of the leaders that's asked to kind of put that on your shoulders, and you'll have 2 years left. I mean, when you start to think about getting older and becoming leaders in your own right, what kind of things do you think make you confident that you're going to be able to do that?
Um, the seniors now just, how do I say this? They're just on us. Like they push us to be our best. And I know if I just go into my junior and senior season being like them, I think that'll just help me out a lot.
You came into this program last year and you made an immediate impact as a freshman. So that being said, and know you're always going to be able to use that as your experience. What would you say to another incoming freshman that wants to be kind of the same player you were as a freshman to come in and make an impact? What kind of advice do you give them?
Just keep working. It may not happen your freshman year. It is very hard to play, but just keep working at it, and hopefully you will get to where you want to be.
With the success you guys have had, you are a role model now. You have younger players coming to your games and wanting to be where you're at on that varsity floor. What's that like for you guys to be able to know that you have younger players watching you and wanting to be like you?
It feels nice to be seen as a role model. Um, that's really all I have to say. It feels nice.
If little girls are watching and they want to start up basketball, what's the first thing you think they should start to do? What was the first thing you did when you were starting to pick up a basketball?
Definitely, I've always worked on ball handling. I'm not the best at it, but once you know how to dribble the ball, I think that's when you can start working on other fundamentals of the sport.
All right, Mariana, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to thank your support system, all the people that have been there for you throughout your career, and the people that you wouldn't be here without.
Just thank you to the coaches, my team, friends, and family.
All right, Mariana, thank you so much for joining us today. We wish you the best of luck in that regional semifinal, and we hope to talk to you again real soon.
All right, thank you.